Hello again. It's good to see you. Actually, I wish I could see you. I wish that we could meet face to face and that we could talk, but this will work. As you know, the title of this MOOC is Social Entrepreneurship, a Grassroots Revolution. And today, I'd like to talk about a tool for evaluating our project ideas. It's a tool to help us identify strengths and weaknesses. But first, I would like to remind people about the MOOC website. Just about all questions related to this course are answered on this site. We also have a Facebook page. Simply search for Social Entrepreneurship Program. And those of you who've seen other video presentations know that there is also an optional book, but this is not required to do well in this course. And you're welcome to order that. The information on ordering is through the Facebook page and the MOOC website. Have you selected the category of people you want to assist? Might it be the feeble elderly, abused teens, illiterate adults, maybe people experiencing depression? Selecting the people you want to help is the first big step. And then the second step is coming up with an innovative idea on how you want to help them. That's a big step also. Some of you have an innovative project idea in mind right now. If that's the case for you, that's great. But I assume that most of you probably don't have an innovative project idea in mind right now, and there's no problem if you don't. When we have an innovative project idea in mind, it is helpful to carefully analyze strengths and weaknesses of that project idea. What I think normally occurs when we have this light bulb go off and this idea, wow, what about this project? This sounds like it could work. I think usually we get a little bit excited about the project. And that's a good thing. It's exciting to get excited. But when we do get excited, that introduces a level of bias to the way we're perceiving our project. And there tends to be a positive bias, and sometimes we might need help in figuring out ways to identify problems that are not apparent to us at first. And so toward that purpose, I have developed a 10-point scale that I'd like to talk about today. If you have a project idea in mind right now, please reflect on the scale items I will share today and determine how your idea would score. A project idea will receive a score of from 1 through 10 points. With 10 items, the highest possible score is 100. In the early stage of your thinking about your project, it's fine for you to be the only person who's assigning scores for your project relative to these scale items. But as things progress and your interest continues, it would probably be very useful for you to ask some other people to try to be as objective as they can and assign scores for your project relative to the scale items that I will be talking about. The overall score a project idea receives is not a predictor of success. The overall score is a reflection of strengths and weaknesses, and so predicts difficulty level to begin this project. Here are the items: seriousness of the problem, amount of human labor required, level of skill of human labor needed, financial cost, ability to obtain volunteers, ability to generate sales, ability to obtain grants and donations, emotional support from clients, emotional support from the local community, and the last one is bureaucratic challenges. So let's take a look at that first one, the seriousness of the problem. What is the degree of damage if the project does not occur? All projects to help others in need are important. However, some projects are more important than others. Feeding starving children is normally viewed as a more important project than cleaning the home of a feeble elderly person. We're going to have a tendency to score our idea high because it's our idea and because hopefully we're excited about the idea. That's going to give us a positive bias. So it's important when we're reflecting on how to score our idea on each of these scale items that we consider the context, especially this scale item, seriousness of the problem. What's the context? How does our project idea fit in with other projects around the United States, around the world? That's going to very strongly influence the appropriate scoring of our item. The scoring of our project. Our natural tendency is going to be to score it high, but all projects do not deserve a score of 10 on this item, seriousness of the project. The next item is amount of human labor required. Some projects require small amounts of labor. They accomplish much with low amounts of human labor. Other projects are labor intensive. There is a place for both types of projects, but the high labor projects will receive a lower score on this item. The third scale item is level of skill of human labor. Some projects cannot be accomplished without highly skilled labor. Others can be successful with volunteers off the street. The lower the skill level required, the easier the startup will be. Although some very successful projects require highly skilled labor, these projects receive a low score on this scale item. One of the thoughts that crosses my mind is a well-known international project and nonprofit called Doctors Without Borders. As you may be aware, this is an organization that sends physicians to different parts of the world that are in desperate need of medical care. So it's a very exciting project. But I see this as a very good illustration of a project that absolutely requires a high skill level. Now, this nonprofit, this project is very successful. So the people organizing this have done what needs to be done in order to make this a successful project. But the point of the scale item that I'm on right now is that having the requirement of highly skilled people for our project, it is not a strength. And in fact, those projects should receive a lower score on this scale. Those projects that do not require highly skilled people would receive a higher score on this scale. The next item in my 10-point scale is financial cost. Some project ideas will be expensive and others will be inexpensive. We should prepare a document listing all necessary activities and associated costs. Sometimes people are surprised at the expense of their idea after they see the breakdown of expenses. These projects that are not expensive will receive the highest scores on this scale item. The next item is ability to obtain volunteers. Most projects benefit from volunteers, and some projects cannot exist without many volunteers. Our tendency will be to assume that other people will be as excited about our idea as we are, but that is unlikely. What data exist to indicate the likelihood that people will be interested in volunteering to assist with your project? As the time gets closer to you starting a project, your speculation on this issue may not be enough. At some point, I encourage you to go into the community that, where you'll be seeking volunteers and collect data. Try to determine the extent of interest in people being willing to volunteer for your project. The point is, whenever possible, don't depend on speculation. Collect data and reach conclusions based on that data. The sixth item is ability to generate sales. I believe that many nonprofits do not devote enough attention to this issue. What can you sell? A service? Items created by clients? Some projects lend themselves well to selling, but others don't. If children are involved, can the children create any project that some members of the public might value? For example, children's art is sometimes greatly appreciated and bought. Might you contract with a local government to deliver your service? Another idea is, can there be a sliding scale of charges to clients such that those who can afford to pay do pay something? The point here is that I believe that we should do everything we reasonably can do to generate income other than grants and donations. The point is that I believe we should do everything we reasonably can do to be as independent and self-sufficient as we can. I'm talking about our project being independent and self-sufficient. Many projects require grants. Many projects require donations. My point is that we try to minimize those. And as I mentioned earlier, I think that there are some nonprofits that do not look closely enough at this issue. They seem to be too happy to depend on grants and donations from other people. So to me, this is a very important issue, and it relates to how strong do we want our project and our nonprofit to be. The next item is ability to obtain grants and donations. Some project ideas immediately grab the hearts of people. Other project ideas are high quality, but do not immediately generate extreme emotional appeal. Those projects that deeply grab others will likely do the best in securing donations and grants. If your project idea is one of those that excites others, then you should score high on this scale item. The next item is emotional support from clients. It is possible to have a dynamite project idea, but for the intended clients to not be interested in what we have to offer. This is true especially if we are an outsider to the category of people we want to assist. What data do you have to suggest the extent to which intended clients are interested in your help? Don't assume. Confirm that the intended clients are interested. This is another issue that I consider to be very serious and important. We could have a great plan, and it could seemingly be a wonderful idea, but it's going to depend on our intended clients being interested in receiving our services. This situation especially relates to people who are proposing projects that involve communities that the initiator of the project is not a part of. If we are outsiders to the category of people that we want to help, then this becomes a very important issue. Sometimes people in a community that represent a category of people that we are not a part of, they may need the help, the type of help that we're wanting to provide, but they may not want that help from us. They may not trust us. They may think we have other reasons for being there. And I could probably make several other points related to that, but you know, the basic point here is do not assume that your clients are interested in the service that you want to provide. Document this. Make sure they are. That's going to bring strength to your project. There are only two more scale items. Number 9, emotional support from the local community. Social entrepreneurship projects exist in contexts, and one of those contexts is the geographic community. Some projects are sought by local communities. Other projects are not. If there is any controversy surrounding the issue we seek to address, then we might anticipate some objections from some people in the local community. For example, the first one that pops into my mind, it's a very useful, very important project. And that is a project to help people who have just been released from prison to gradually transition to life outside of prison and in society. This is an extremely useful, valuable project. However, if our plan is to buy a house in a community and then bring the people who are recently released from prison to live in this house while they make adjustments to modern society, this is a controversial issue in just about any neighborhood, and we can anticipate a low level of support in the neighborhood where our house is intended to exist. So the broader point is that any controversy surrounding the issue that is a part of our project, that can create a problem for us. It can create a problem in terms of reducing the support of the local community for our project. And on this scale that we're working with in this presentation, a project idea that has a controversy related to it would score lower on this particular item. The last item in my scale is bureaucratic challenges. This item is from a scale developed by Wilford Welch in his book, Tactics of Hope. How many bureaucratic hurdles are involved in delivery of services? Do we have a complex organizational structure or a simple one? Must we hire and train many people? Is training complex? The issue of bureaucratic challenges is especially important if we seek work in another country. Negotiating the bureaucracy for working in another country certainly could be a substantial task. Some other countries may welcome our project, may welcome us and our project. Other countries may not. Some countries may not be certain that our intentions are pure. They may think we have ulterior motives. For whatever reason, there may be a lower level of trust in another country as compared with if we are working in our own country. For this particular scale item, the issue is bureaucratic challenges. There could be fairly substantial bureaucratic challenges within our country, but this is especially an issue if we want to be working in another country. One of the points I'd like to emphasize is that although there are very worthwhile projects to be done in other countries, it's my belief that if we choose to work in our own country, we can. I believe that there are many problems and many opportunities for social entrepreneurs in our home countries. I'd like to take a quick look at this list again. Seriousness of the problem, amount of human labor required, level of skill of human labor needed, financial cost, ability to obtain volunteers, ability to generate sales, ability to obtain grants and donations, emotional support from clients, emotional support from the local community, and bureaucratic requirements to get our project started. The score a project idea receives does not predict success. The score, I believe, I hope, is a predictor of difficulty. And in my next presentation, I would like to apply this scale to a project idea. Thank you very much for taking your valuable time to listen to what I had to say today. Best wishes.